Hey guys, welcome back to the MCU and this is my spoiler review for Black Widow. This is not going to be a beat for beat going over everything in the movie, just certain things I want to talk about, and there's going to be a lot of discussion about the third act. So, once again, this is spoilers. If you have not seen the movie, do not watch this video because I'm going to ruin a lot of stuff for you then. So, go watch my non-spoiler review, watch the movie, then come back here and watch this. First of all, these are some of the coolest opening credits I have ever seen in a movie. I heard going in they were cool, and then I kind of just forgot that they were in the movie because I'd heard they were in the movie. So the movie's going, I'm watching the prologue, and I forgot they were in the movie. Then they popped up, and I was like, oh my god, these are some of the coolest things I've ever seen. They're probably right behind the opening credits for Army of the Dead in terms of coolest opening credits. Actually, Guardians 2 has really good opening credits also. Point is, they were really solid. You know, Nat and Yelena like trying to escape, and Dreykov is coming in and he's like trafficking people, and then we see all the footage of all the different Black Widows throughout the world, and Dreykov, and the remix of Smells Like Teen Spirit. It was beautiful. It's also really nice to see opening credits in Marvel, because outside of the Guardians movies, I don't think we've ever had opening credits in a Marvel movie. So it's nice to get them from time to time. It was a really welcome sight. But fast forwarding a bit through the movie, we get to that red gas stuff that undoes mind control. The person Yelena's hunting down hits her with it, and that's when she's like, oh my god, I'm a bad person, the Black Widows are awful. I did not like that from the moment it happened. It felt like such a quick fix of just, oh, here's an easy solution to the next, the main problem. It's like in The Dark Knight Rises, how they just give Bruce a knee brace and then he's Batman again. Like, if they had made it on screen, or even better, if that was the only one they had and Yelena got hit, or not, that wouldn't be even better. It would be a better option, as if they only had one that Black Widow was trying to get out of there, but in the process, Yelena got to her and she had to use it on Yelena, and then they ran out and they're like, well, we need to find the one person who can make more of this, instead of just having a crap ton of it from the get-go. There were a lot of better options than what they did. So then we get to that first Taskmaster fight not long after, and when it first happened, I was really thrown off, because I was like, I thought Taskmaster was sent after Yelena, but then I realized, I was like, oh, that's right, she sent the vials to Nat, so Taskmaster went after those. Now, I think that was a great fight scene. It was really the only example of mirroring that we got in the movie, but it also sets up Natasha's unbreakable plot armor. I mean, she's in her car that gets blown up, it like gets thrown through the air, barrel rolls onto this bridge, and then she gets beat up by Taskmaster and Spartan kicked off this bridge, lands in the water, and then walks it off. I was like, you're not like numb or sore at all? And that happens later in Budapest. She falls like 20 stories because that thing they're on smacks the side of the wall. So it smacks the side, Yelena gets thrown inside, Nat hits the wall, falls, she's smacking all these things on her way down, like 20 stories at least, then lands on her feet and just walks away. And then a few minutes later, the car that her and Yelena are in gets blown up, thrown in the air, barrel rolls a bunch, slides underground into a train station, and she does not have so much as a bruise. I'm gonna remind you, she's not superpowered. These are hits that Captain America can take, not Natasha Romanoff. And it does kind of make her sacrifice on Vormir kind of less believable. Now, I don't want to look at it and be like, oh, there's no way she should have lived through that. Obviously, she should have died from that. But it's the Fast and Furious logic where it's like, there's really no stakes when your characters are invincible. I mean, in the trailer, when they have Natasha skydiving through debris while soldiers are falling and shooting at her and Taskmaster's coming at her and she's just surfing her way through it. That takes the believability out. It takes the stakes out. So many fights were like that, where it's like, oh, well, they're all gonna be fine just from what I've seen. Obviously, yes, we know Natasha makes it out of it, but, like, if Natasha can survive all these crazy things, that immediately takes the stakes out of Red Guardian, Melina, and Yelena, because you're like, well, if Natasha can survive it, the rest of them can. Okay, let's talk about the supporting cast, because there was so much stuff I wanted to say in my review. I didn't even mention O.T. Fagbenle in my review, and that's because he's, like, barely in the movie. He's the supply guy. He gets them a helicopter, he gets Natasha the RV with the generator, and then he gets her the Quinjet at the end. He has a collective 2 minutes of screen time, maybe? His sole purpose for existing, the reason that he was not in the trailers, the reason that the only thing we had seen of him, besides like the quick shot on the poster, the only time we'd seen him was at Comic-Con, that was all just one big red herring because they wanted us to think he was Taskmaster. But it was so obviously a red herring. Like, at some point, I was like, he's not Taskmaster. Oh, even on his character poster, they even had him standing like this, like he was holding a shield or something. Like, it was... I feel bad for him. His sole purpose for existing in the MCU is to make people think he's Taskmaster. You know who else is barely in this movie? Rachel Weisz. I thought she would be so much more important. But no, she gives exposition, almost kills a pig, does the Natasha fake out, and then we see her on the crashing jet. But then we never see that jet come down, right? Her and Red Guardian just kind of walk it off at the end. So exposition was her purpose in the movie, basically. Yeah, she comes in so late. She comes in right at, like, the end of the second act, explains how, like, Dreykov's, like, thing works, and then she says, oh yeah, I called the Red Room. That's it. Does she even do anything? In the final fight, she's the one who shoots the thing that brings the Red Room down. That's what she did in the finale. But, like, compared to the other things, I mean, Natasha got to fight Taskmaster. You know, Natasha and Yelena are out there kicking all kinds of ass. Red Guardian's fighting Taskmaster, and Melina's just kind of gone until the plot requires her to deal with Taskmaster, which is like 3 seconds. She just... There we go. Red Guardian! I liked Red Guardian purely because David Harbour nailed that performance. I am a big David Harbour fan. But here's something I wish they did with Red Guardian. The whole movie, he's talking about fighting Captain America. He's making this up because, as a prisoner even says, Cap was in the ice at that point, so he couldn't have fought Cap. But this whole movie, Red Guardian is bragging about fighting Cap. He's talking about how he's Russia's Captain America. So how come in the scene when he's fighting someone who mirrors Captain America's abilities exactly, that no longer has any meaning or is ever brought up? You would think Red Guardian, considering himself Cap's biggest adversary, would mean that he is trained to fight Cap. So the scene when Taskmaster is fighting like Cap should have been a lot more epic. This is the fight Red Guardian's trained for. This is the fight he's bragged about. This is the closest he'll ever get to fighting Captain America. And they keep cutting away. But my biggest issue with Alexei and Melina is that they don't need to be in this movie. They're only in this movie because they're at the start in the family thing, so it's only natural to have them come back in since this is a story about family. But they didn't do anything that that Natasha and Yelena couldn't do. The movie could have just been the two sisters going on a road trip. Pretty much everything else in there I liked. Even a lot of my issues I still liked, although that Red Guardian Taskmaster fight was so disappointing. I was looking forward to that more than anything in the movie. But I did really like the first 2 acts of this movie. I thought they were pretty solid. The third act is where I have a lot of issues, and it's where things get dumb. And so The rest of this is pretty much just going to be me talking about the third act. First off, who decided to put the scene of them falling through the sky in the trailer? Because we seen Natasha and Taskmaster like falling through all the debris. So the second they went up and the Red Room was there, and I was like, oh, well, that thing's coming down. So that face thing, they use it in Winter Soldier, they use it again, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's like that face thing you can use to alter your face, is so stupid. I did not like it when they introduced it in Winter Soldier. I did not like it when they brought it back. I don't like it now. I don't think I will ever like it. It's such a dumb... Like, why are these not mass-produced? Why do the Avengers not all have these? Why didn't Tony Stark steal Ebony Maw's clothes and get one of those face shield things and pretend to be Ebony Maw, and then when Thanos got to Titan, he just whipped out his sword and cut Thanos' head off? It's the dumbest invention. And what's even funnier about it is that what's the point of Skrulls? Because the whole thing of Skrulls, it's oh, they're shapeshifters, you can't trust anyone. Well, 7 years ago in a little movie called Winter Soldier, they brought in a thing that can completely mask your face. The build of your face. We're in Dreykov's office with Natasha, Dreykov, and Taskmaster. So, Natasha tries to kill Dreykov, which I loved this idea. The idea that it's like, Natasha's not the perfect, like black and white and gray area, all that in terms of morality. She's not the perfect hero. She will stand point blank and just blow this guy's head off. But then she doesn't. And I'm like, why is that? So my first thought was that what happened is whatever programming was in her head, there's still a hint of it there. That Dreykov had a failsafe that said, you physically, your body will prevent itself from killing me because of what I put in your brain. That's not what it is. This man's body spray is so strong that it prevents you from being able to kill this man. So what you're telling me is that anyone with a sniper rifle can kill Dreykov. If one of the Black Widows all of a sudden decides, hey, you know what, I'm going to kill Dreykov, all they have to do is get a sniper and stand a reasonable distance away and just snipe him because they can't smell him that far away. Or, you guys all saw how big that office was. Natasha could have just gone to the other side of the office and shot Dreykov where she would have been, far enough away to not smell him. Basically, Dreykov's BO is so strong that it makes people not want to kill him. Did no one in the writing room say, hey, that sounds really friggin' stupid? But in that scene, we get the Taskmaster reveal. Taskmaster takes off the helmet, and it's Dreykov's daughter. And my face in the theater when that happened looked something like this. Because I wasn't shocked at all, that's for sure. I had the sneaky suspicion ever since the first trailer they were going to gender bend Taskmaster. So here's my issues with Taskmaster. She mirrors in one fight, and even then it's only for a few moves. The one thing they did to show you it was a mirrored fight is have her and Natasha both kind of do the kip up at the same time. And so she never mirrors again. So at the end of the day, she's really only Taskmaster by name. And then the story, remember in X-Men Origins Wolverine, when they sewed the Merc with a mouth's mouth shut? Yeah, Taskmaster's a mute. I think Taskmaster says one line. And I only know she says one line because I heard it online. Someone said it. I didn't hear the line. Don't ask me what the one thing is that Taskmaster says. I didn't hear it at all. And she's good now? One of the coolest villains in comics is just a good guy now. Which does not make any sense. What happens is that Natasha hits her with the red gas and she just kind of falls out of it. And I guess she asked if Dreykov was dead, like she was all relieved that Dreykov was dead. Dreykov made you better. Natasha blew you up and Dreykov gave you superpowers. If anything, you should still be a bad guy and still be trying to get Natasha. But no, she just kind of stops wanting Natasha. Because Natasha hits her with the red gas, even though her hatred of Natasha in no way stems from being a Black Widow. Oh, also, Taskmaster's uniform, it's clearly a guy's uniform. It does not adhere to the female form whatsoever. And so you would think, well, why is Dreykov's best agent look like a male instead of a female? Well, I'll tell you the answer to that. It's to make us think that Taskmaster isn't a female. They were like, hey, so you know how Taskmaster is a guy in the comics who talks a lot? They're like, let's make Taskmaster a mute female. I do not have a problem with the gender swap. A lot of people do. I don't. And they're like, so we'll make Taskmaster a female, but we want people to think it's a male. So let's put Taskmaster in a guy's uniform so you'll think it's a male. And then what's even better is let's cast someone in the movie who's barely in the movie, and we're going to keep his character a mystery and not talk at all about him and leave him completely out of the trailer so that you'll think he's Taskmaster. Therefore, nothing would lead us to believe that Taskmaster is a female. And when they have to go through that much like creative skipping to go over certain things, you sit back and wonder, if you want us to believe that Taskmaster's a guy, just make Taskmaster a guy. What I did love, though, involving Taskmaster was the scene when Natasha decides to free her, because she falls to, like, the prison area, and she sees Taskmaster in the cell trying to get out, and the whole thing's coming down. And she doesn't want, I can't even remember what her name is, but she doesn't want Taskmaster to die there, but also knows if she lets Taskmaster out, she's just gonna come for her. And then she does the heroic thing, good job Natasha, and she says she's gonna free her, and there's a moment where they just kind of look at each other, and this is another thing ruined by the trailer. Because I didn't for a second think Taskmaster was just gonna let Natasha go, because, oh yeah, this is in the trailer. As for that sky fight, it was not as bad as the trailers made it look, but it was still meh. I'm surprised they even wanted to put it in the trailer. Not just because it spoiled the fact that the whole Red Room was coming down or that Taskmaster wasn't going to let Natasha go, but because visually, it looks so fake. Like, you're just watching it and you're like, those are people on wires, it's a CG background, like, it doesn't look believable at all. I'm surprised they even wanted to market that fight heavily. But granted, the movie, it looked better in the movie than the trailers, probably because the trailers made it look like a full fight while they're falling, whereas what really happens is Natasha just skydives down to Yelena, and then Taskmaster tackles her, and then they fall to the ground. That's it. Final Taskmaster fight, also disappointing. When did the fighting a mirror thing come into play? Yeah, outside of the first fight, Taskmaster just became a generic video game boss. Like I said, it's only Taskmaster by name. Now, lastly, the ending. The ending is weird. Don't get me wrong, I like it. I like how she's like, look, you guys gotta go, I gotta deal with this, and then she gets the jacket. The weird part of the ending is there's something missing. There really wasn't anywhere to go. There really wasn't any cover, anywhere to run. The only mode of transportation out of there was a plane, and that crashed. And Ross has a convoy of guys. How did Natasha get out of there? I would have loved to see that. But no, we cut to a couple weeks later when she's got her blonde hair and she gets the Quinjet. So what would have been a better movie, in my opinion? The best Black Widow movie would have been a team-up prequel of her and Hawkeye that would have been, you know, Budapest way back when. They keep telling us what it was. They're like, oh yeah, me and Barton hid in here for however many days it was, and then, oh, me and Barton did this. And I'm like, do you have any idea how cool this sounds? I want to see that backstory. As for the post-credit scene, I'm going to save that for another video. I'm not going to tack that on the end of this video. I want to dedicate a whole video to that post-credit scene. So you guys can stay tuned for that. I'm not sure when it should be up. Hopefully pretty soon. But there you go. Those are my spoiler thoughts on Black Widow. I'll ask again, what'd you think of the movie? This time feel free to say any spoilers. Let me know all that down in the comments below. Also leave a like on this video, subscribe, click on the bell icon to receive all notifications from the MCU HQ. That's going to be it. Have a great day, guys.